Yes, quite lovely. That should just about do it. Commander, we are finished with this world. Commence towing our planet to its next destination. Lieutenant!
Yes, sir.
You have fulfilled your tree quota. Barely.
We are ready to return to base.
Not so fast, Lieutenant. Just because we don't need any more trees doesn't mean they should have them. Destroy everything.
Alright, welcome back to Let's Play Ratchet and Clank HD. We are moving on to planet Eudora, which is a planet being savaged by the villain of the game, Chairman Drek, and his crew of very incompetent robots. Yeah, this level is actually pretty forgettable, only because it gets a little too over the top with the cartoonish elements, and it's pretty boring. There's really not a whole lot going on. It's very forgettable. The enemies are these robots that are cutting down trees to harvest for the artificial environment on Drek's new planet. There's a new weapon available here, the Glove of Doom, which is, it has its uses. I'll be getting it later on. I typically ignore it altogether in this game. It's not one of my favorite weapons, but upon further test playing, at least with the HD version, I like it better than I used to. There's some one-hit enemies here, the little buzzsaw guys, and then there's these robots with the axes that are your two-hit enemies. And they have a pretty, you definitely want to finish them off, because if you hit them one time, they will counterattack and swing their whole torso around. Also, you can destroy these floating machinery here that'll be carrying around trees and harvesting them down and whatnot. Here's another bolt crank to bring up this bridge. There's a skill point for destroying a certain quantity of those floating machinery things, which those things are another reason why I feel like this level is kind of dumb, because it's like ridiculous things like floating buzzsaws and like proper like power tools and that kind of thing, but it's like high-tech floating machine. It makes no sense. Anyway, if I didn't mention what skill points are earlier, they are an Insomniac Games tradition ever since the Spyro days. And they are basically achievements or trophies before achievements and trophies existed. And it's a really cool system, but man, are they some nonsense in this game. They were nonsense back in the Spyro days too, but this is ridiculous. I think I got all the skill points in one run in the first Ratchet and Clank. My brother managed to get every skill point and go in Commando, but I never really bothered to do that. And I don't think either of us were able to get any of them in our arsenal. Anyway, there's certain points in this level where you'll be able to see those little guys. Yeah, like right here, the frickin' buzzsaw guy flying down into your eye level where you can hit him with your wrench. But, yeah, the bomb glove is good against those guys that with the axes. I don't remember what they're called. I'm sure I'll look it up after the fact and then be hating myself for not doing my research. But it'll one-shot them, so you don't have to worry about that nasty counterattack. And there's another new enemy type coming up here, which we'll be seeing a lot more frequently throughout the game. These guys actually kind of give this level some narrative continuity with the Blarg being here. Some Blargian soldiers, we're finally fighting them. They're similar to the Blargian commanders we fought on, what do you call it, Metropolis. They're two-hit enemies. They're a little bit weaker than those guys, but their weapons are a lot more dangerous. They have a regular blaster-type weapon that fires in a straight line. They fire it pretty rapidly in succession, too, which means you can get several shots out. Ooh, triple kill with the bomb glove. So they're pretty dangerous. They also are very quick. They will run away from you. There's several different varieties of them that you'll fight later in the game, and they're pretty much going to be a staple enemy for the rest of the game. So they're quite dangerous. Don't underestimate them, even if they're just a two-hit enemy. Only because they have such good range and mobility, which a lot of other enemies in this game don't have, just because, you know, what kind of game this is. They don't make the enemies able to do a whole lot. But right now, the blaster and the bomb glove are pretty much our best bets against them. Up here, there's some upper levels of platforms that have some crates on them, we're definitely going to go up there. I want to clear out the enemies down here and get the bolts out. Those guys are pretty helpless to do anything against us from the high ground that we have up here. I suppose there is one nice thing about this level's aesthetic, and that's the whole nature vibe with all the trees and whatnot is not something we get very often in this game, or in this franchise for that matter. It's mostly, you know, kind of space themes and, you know, sci-fi stuff for the most part, so we don't get a whole lot of this, and actually the very next level will kind of prove that point. Okay, you kind of have to be walking sideways to dodge their fire, so that's why the bomb glove is good. But if you are running towards them, you could probably hit them with a blaster. But if they've already fired at you, it's too late. You're probably going to take a hit, so you can't really use the blaster all that well if you're fighting multiple of them either, because you're probably going to take a hit from the second one when you're lining up your shot for the first one. I think they're dropping different kinds of bolts, too, that are worth a little bit more. So tonight is E3, guys, which means that we're going to get a bunch of nonsense from all the developers we don't care about, and, you know, all this typical stuff we get from E3. But I'm assuming that if Insomniac has anything to say there, they will be talking about their newest Ratchet and Clank project, because that's actually, from what I can tell, what they're working on right now. I'll say more about that here in a second. We have another new enemy type coming up. This guy's a larger robot, and he's a 3-hit enemy, and he kind of provokes you to come at him, and he is very fast with his axe swing, so he can deal a lot of damage to you very fast. So you want to keep your distance from him and use the bomb glove or the blaster. Pretty much the same weapons I've been using. I only really use the processor against one-hit enemies. There's random Glove of Doom ammo specifically in that crate, and I have no idea why. It's in every version of the game from what I can tell. Anyway, apparently Insomniac is working on a Ratchet and Clank movie that is essentially based on the plot of the first game, this one right here. It's a reimagination of the first game, but it's still the same story, from what I can tell. It's the origin story, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I mean, there's only a couple of game adaptations into film that I really cared for, so I can't really say that I was crazy. Of all the games that I thought could be adapted well into film, I never would have guessed Ratchet and Clank. But if they're doing it, I mean, okay. I mean, I guess it'll be fine. We'll have to wait and see. I can't exactly say they rushed into it, being the game is 12 years old, or actually 13 years old. And by the time the movie comes out, it'll be even older than that. But if they want to do it, go for it. At least they're not. At least it's probably from a competent production team. And then they're making a PS4 Ratchet and Clank remastered version that is essentially a game based on the movie. So they made a movie inspired by the first game, and then they make a game based on the movie. Interesting. I'm glad I'm Let's Playing this now, before that comes out. And hopefully I'll have the rest of the series close to done by the time that comes out, too. Although I probably will not have gotten to the PS3 Ratchet and Clank games by that time, so I'm going to have a lot of catching up to do. But I do plan to Let's Play pretty much the entire series, or at least the entire main series. Some of the spin-off or multiplayer exclusive games, I will probably not do.
Sweet!
So this whole area we just went through is completely optional. It serves nothing, it just leads us to a new weapon that we get, the Suck Cannon, which, contrary to its name, does not suck. It's actually quite good. It does suck up bolts, and it sucks up small enemies and fires them out as projectiles. And it can hold 5 small enemies in it at a time. You have to hold down the fire button in order to continue sucking them. If you stop stop holding down circle, it will change to fire mode and it will launch the. Did not mean to use the bomb glove there. I thought I was going to switch back to the suck cannon. Nice thing about it is it uses no ammo, so you can use the enemies in your environment to your advantage and never have to spend any ammo. So it's a great weapon. It's one of my favorite weapons in the game, and it became a series staple here on after. It's a little tricky to use because the projectiles maneuver in a very finicky way, but it deals 2 hits of damage, and they fire like rockets. So it's just they fire in a very weird arcing path. So it's very hard to determine what kind of enemies you're going to be able to hit, and if the projectile is actually going to be able to hit them. But it's very powerful, and it's powerful, and it's absolutely free to use. You just have to have a small enemy in the environment to be able to use it. And there's another weapon late in the game that combos well with this, and we'll be getting that when we're getting that. So more on that later. This is actually the path that they intend for you to go on. If you got here and you did not have the Trespasser, you would only be able to get the suck cannon, and then you'd pretty much have to leave and go back to Iridia, because you need the Trespasser to actually go to the main area for this level. Not only do you need, this is pretty much where they say, you had to have done everything on Iridia and, what do you call it? Well, not even on Metropolis, because you needed the swing shot to get the Trespasser anyway. If this is just a platforming section, it's pretty easy. You can see those swing shot targets coming in from outside the frame when I rotate this block here. Alright, one more Trespasser puzzle to go, and I think that should be almost it. Alright. Alright, let's take on that lieutenant. Alright guys, it's time for a boss battle against the lieutenant.
You sure showed him.
I suppose I did.
Well, that was anticlimactic.
Is your current occupation leaving a rotten taste in your mouth? Then you need to know about BTS, Blog Tactical Research Station. Hi, I'm Supreme Executive Chairman Drek, and we here at BTS are seeking motivated individuals to fill positions in these exciting careers. Grind boot tester, warhead assembly technician, mutant animal husbandry, robot repairman, suck cannon test dummy, and administrative assistant. So call BTS. Build our weapons while you build your future.
I'm calling BTS today.
Now we're talking. Did you see all the cool gadgets they're making? Let's go get some.
No, we must continue our search for Captain Quark.
You're absolutely right.
I am?
Sure. We need to find Quark. Although when we find him, wouldn't it be nice to be able to tell him where Chairman Drek is?
I suppose.
Well, we go to the space station and talk to the scientists. They work for Drek, so they're bound to know where he is.
I am unsure about your logic.
Ah, you think too much. Come on, let's go.
Ratchet's logic is pretty sound. Yeah, there's no boss fight there. He just runs away. Pretty underwhelming, but at least we have the coordinates for the Blarg Tactical Station now. Which again, we're not really getting anywhere with the plot necessarily. We're kind of just, jerking around. We're not really doing anything. But the Blarg Tactical Station is where the game really spikes up the difficulty. I didn't actually get a chance to fire the suck cannon, so I guess I might as well demonstrate it against these guys over here. As you can see, they go in a weird arcing trajectory, so it's kind of hard to hit things with them, but they're pretty powerful. And that is literally it for Eudora. There might be like a gold bolt or something I forgot that I can't get right now, but that's literally it. We're done here.